To my channel, it's good to have you here. My name is Gemma Haley. I am a criminologist, and this one I want to discuss the European Conventions of Human Rights and where it's going. So let's go and get into this a little bit. International human rights, these are normal, okay? So if we understand this as Europe made a Bill of Rights, it's called a convention, so it's a little bit different because it's a coming together of agreeing on the human rights of individuals all over the world. Okay, so the European wanted to everybody to sign this. It has many different things in there, but the human rights one is specific. That was one of many conventions that they have created to create a form of world peace, right? And you're supposed to follow it. You're supposed to sign it and ratify it. We signed it and we ratified it. America is not signed it, not ratified it. They said it actually takes the control away from them, from the people, from the governments to them, the Europe. And this was the issue that they have with the government now, and they want it out, because this is why FARAGE wants the convention to be removed, because they don't want to have that they don't want the European Union to have that control over them, to govern over them in aspects of human rights. Okay, so the human rights was their protection for spirituality. So it was to nurture, that every child deserves nurture, spiritual protection, right? The right to food, water and shelter. Okay, so that's for the children. Okay, so to me that sounds normal. Okay, to say that we could want this is normal. Okay, we want protection for children, but we don't just want that in one land mass. We want it in all of them. And the reason why is because if we all have the same rules, then you cannot divert or use against the people's human rights. So this is why essentially there is that. So America hasn't signed it, right? So there's an issue there. So I think that's why FARAGE doesn't want to as well. And I think it's so that America can have more of a say in our land. And I think that this is why there's an issue. And you don't have to do anything, but at the same time you just have to understand that we have human rights ourselves, but we're not even abiding by them because the amount of stuff that's going on in our system. So there's a lot of corruption going on anyway. And the big issue is sort of like that the European Convention has probably got a couple of hot list court cases up, and they're trying to stop it from happening because FARAGE is sticking up for the people who obviously are going to get in trouble for conducting certain ways, and the European Convention of Human Rights are annoyed with this, so they're going to bring them up. They're going to want a court case, they want a ruling, right? So I think this might be why. I don't know who it is, but it sounds like it might be in a speculative manner. Okay, so why is it good to actually implement this? Like literally the human rights of a child, it's so simple. Like this is something that's universal, and we could stop third world hunger, we could stop a lot of things, okay, from just having that structure analysis, a construction, okay, of understanding that children deserve their human rights. Okay, this is just children, let alone humans, all right, because humans deserve their human rights as well, exactly the same. Okay, why? Because if that child is benefiting off of all those things, why would you take it away from that person? You wouldn't. Okay, so be honest about why you're trying to remove this, FARAGE, and you're doing it under a council, but you sat an MEP. You sat an MP. So it's interesting to watch you go from council to MP. Okay, so you're hitting fifth sphere, because that's the council, and you're hitting the sevens. So you're working in between that line, trying to get things done. But what are you doing? Removing human rights. So when you remove a human right, what takes place? Because it's already happened here, hasn't it? So a lot of children have been taken into care homes, and this is probably one of the reasons why ECHR are kicking up a little bit of a fuss, isn't it? Right? So this might be why, okay, this has happened. Okay? Because you've obviously had deals with people that you shouldn't have had deals with in different countries, and this is why it's probably escalated. Okay? And this might have something to do with why other people might be in trouble in the future, like Prince Andrew, for example, because he's obviously a corporate business owner of something that he didn't supply to, which was the ECHR. Okay, so this is another thing. If the company businesses that he's worked in are illegitimately removing children, okay, so this is obviously in connection to MI4, which is the criminal justice system, which I call it MI4 because it's Mission Impossible, because you can't see anything because it's all voided out, okay? So I can see that, I know how to do that, I know how to avoid things, I know how to do everything, right? This is why they removed me from my own perch, okay? This is how you got to understand this. FARAGE has been pushed there on that spectrum of a 7 to a 5. So he's taken, okay, a real big link there on the Kabbalah, and it's almost like the experience is because of the experience of a Gematria, which is a top. So he's trying to work in Lincoln, isn't he, under council, on a 5, on the link of the Kabbalah. So you get a 5, 7, and then you get the 2 at the top. So he's trying to work through love, Natshat, which is Houses of Parliament, right? But then he's trying to hit 4s, which is justice system. But he's trying to help the 4s by taking the human rights away. So what he's trying to do is break the Kabbalah, understand aspects of Darth. So what is Darth is an idea, right? So what are they trying to create? Well, they're not trying to create anything. They're trying to remove the human rights, the European Conventions of Human Rights. So in removing that, dismantling that, what's going to be put forward? Is there anything that's going to be put forward? Due to the amount of corruption taking place anyway with the children, is there going to be an issue there raised when it comes to, actually people being in trouble for maybe misbelieving that you had to remove the children in the first place, things like this, putting them in places where they weren't looked after as well. So that defaults as a understanding, okay, to our land. You have broken so many universal laws, okay, when it comes to the European Convention of Human Rights for a child especially. So you've broken a lot of rules, okay, you've broken a lot of laws, and I think this is trying to sort of like the last attempt to try and escape what they've done. And in the meantime, they've put me up in experience, have shelled me, so I can't help anybody, but at the same time I can help you by speaking. But I'm there in a position where they're trying to remove my heart, aspects of love, and they're also trying to remove like help and stuff like this, and then expecting you to sit in experience and be attacked. So it's my human rights again that are being violated. So I'm at 2, for example, being violated with my human rights. They've not been intact, and then on the Kabbalah, if you see on the down spot, FARAGE has taken out Lincoln, which is where I used to live, and the council, which is a 5, Mercy, Chesod, it's 5, right, because it's the council, and then 6 is the church, okay, the Catholicism, This is how you understand the Freemasons at 7, Natshat. So the Freemasons can also be sat there in Natshat. This is the Houses of Parliament as well. Okay, so the Houses of Parliament, Mercy, the Council, and then Gematria. Okay, so he's supposed to be working, okay, towards the goal of understanding Gematria so she can rise back up, okay, to innocence. Because he sat on my perch while he's doing it. But he's not. He's trying to remove it. So he's trying to help the Freemasons and the Council escape the European Conventions of Human Rights. And honestly, this is a poor attempt because it's so freely done under your MI7 and it's heckled at because everybody knows why you're doing it. So you can tell as well that I don't agree with getting rid of it. So the reality is, if you do this, be aware that I already am aware, and then that most people will find out too what you're conducting and how you're conducting FARAGE, because I've even spoke about racism. So let's get on to this, because it's part of a human right and it's a disadvantage in our state, and it's actually happening to me right now. So I've never experienced any forms of racism until I was put in this position. So nobody has ever confronted me about an aspect of race or an issue of race or anything like this, okay? Never had a problem, okay? So all of a sudden I've had this problem here. And I believe that it's a tactic used to discredit people, put people at a disadvantage, and falsify documentation so that when you go to the next place, you are treated more unjustly than the last place, okay? So this is what is happening to me, okay? So I haven't done anything wrong. I'm an innocent woman, okay? So when things like this take place and people do this to us, there has to be an acceptance that we have to talk about this, okay? So I'm going to talk about this because I am Gematria, so I'm loud. And this is why. Because racism is something that, you know, was projected by FARAGE. He narrated it, you know, right? So he's projected all these things, okay, and then he's come and he's done this, right? But he's not helped me with race issue or homelessness. Nobody's done anything about it. I've been given false complaint forms. I've been given everything, right? So that basically, like, I just don't make the complaint, right? So I do it on YouTube as well, because there's nowhere to make complaints, which is an issue and an error in documentation, and it's happening to everybody since COVID, and that's true. So the race issue is something that needs to be dealt with, but when you ignore issues of justice that needs to take place, this is why. And it always boils back down to human rights of the people in our land, okay? All of us, okay? So when it comes to things like race, that's definitely up there on a human right, okay? I believe that everybody should have that right to be whatever colour the bloody came out as, and that's pretty simple, isn't it? Right, there's nothing wrong with that. But, for example, gay men, let's get into that. Human rights, gay men, they're allowed to be gay, right? You're gay, you're gay. Who cares? Who cares, right? But the point is that sometimes some people are going to say stuff to you. They're gonna say stuff to you because they're not straight, right? So if you're a woman and there's a man, okay, I'm going to give you an example, and he calls you names, but you don't know why. One, he's gay, okay? So don't get offended, ladies. But the fact of the matter is they've got longer necks sometimes, you know, you can see that, and they'll take the mick out of you. The straight men will take the mick out of the girls who have smaller necks because they have a different frame, okay? So men might pick on you if they're gay, right? Because they are trying to project something of their self, and that's it, okay? Some people are stronger than others as well, so you might get hurt feelings. But we can understand those types of things. Oh, it's just banter, doesn't mean anything. You know, this is stuff that, you know, you can just get on with. But when it comes to acting and then continuing to act, even though there's a display of understanding this person's obviously gay and that's why he's saying it, otherwise he wouldn't say it, right? So it don't matter to that person because he just thinks, oh, I'm just talking about it because I don't like that. Okay? So this is an understanding of just liking a different race as well. You might like just your own race, for example. You might just like that. That's not being racist, is it? So think about it like this, right? How far are you all willing to go, okay, to lie, leave people here in spaces where they're being abused, knowing full well that you have full understanding, comprehension, and a definite structure of how you want to live your life, and you're being pushed in spaces where you'll have to stay there as long as you're getting your human rights met. But I'm not, am I? Because it's at a disadvantage because I'm being attacked. Okay, I was attacked. Somebody put something in my shampoo bottle and it was like an acid, and it was, my head was, it was like it got sticky, right? So they've done something to my shampoo. So this is a form of abuse, but I can't go anywhere because there's nowhere to go. I did it to myself. They're going to put me in a mental institution. They're going to do this to me. They're going to do that to me. It's Sophia, right? They're trying to stop me from, also with all this framework going on with them, because I'm a Gematrias, they're trying to stop me from reaching my human rights. Okay, so it's happening on a smaller scale, but understand, FARAGE, is happening on a larger scale because of what you are doing. Okay, because what you are pushing to the nation, because what you want to get rid of, because you don't want people to get in trouble for the things that they've done already on this turf. And no one's going to tell them off in the UK, no one's going to tell them off in America, but they might tell them off in the European Union. And this is why, okay? This is why there was always an understanding of a universal law to protect people. And when it's not being used because you just want to do away with it, that's forms of corruption. Because just because you decided not to use the laws anymore doesn't mean you can slag it off and then get rid of it. And that's the point. Okay, so this is why I'm in this situation, because in a microcosm understanding, okay, in a microcosm understanding, I am here in a predicament where I shouldn't be, okay, and the laws should be equated to help us, not just not use them and then decide you're not going to have them anymore because it doesn't work. It's because you didn't use them in the first place, and that's why. Okay, a lot of people are in trouble for something that they've done, aren't they? This is why he's trying to stop it. Remember, moral archangel Gabriella, don't shoot the messenger.